It all started with a message, not a normal one, a scary one. Aleko's girlfriend Jasper showed it to us. Her hands were shaking so much, some random account on Instagram with no face and a weird name was sending her threats. The messages were creepy and they knew things they shouldn't. The worst part was the last message. It said, "Meet me, Prospect Park, the big oak tree by the lake, midnight." Aleko was furious, his face was red. He wanted to go alone, but that was just not going to happen. We are a team. Me, Kyle and Aleko. We've been friends forever. We do everything together. So if he was going, we were all going. We decided we had to face this person. We had to make them stop. Kyle was the brave one, as always. He stood up straight and said, "We'll go. We'll tell this creep to back off." He always acted like a big brother, even though we were all the same age. I was nervous. My stomach felt like it was full of butterflies, but they weren't the good kind. I looked at Aleko. He was trying to be strong for Jasper, but I could see the fear in his eyes. This was real. It wasn't a movie or a game. We were about to walk into a huge, dark park in the middle of the night to meet a stranger who was threatening someone we cared about. It was a crazy idea. It was a stupid idea. But it was our only idea. We had to protect our friend. Our friendship was our superpower. Our plan was simple, maybe too simple. We would walk in, find this person and tell them to leave Jasper alone. We would be 3 against 1. We thought that would be enough. Kyle brought a heavy flashlight that felt more like a weapon. I had my phone fully charged, ready to call for help if things went really bad. Aleko was quiet. He just kept clenching and unclenching his fists. The air in his small Brooklyn apartment felt thick with tension as we waited for the clock to get closer to midnight. We didn't talk much. We just sat there, listening to the sounds of the city outside, each of us lost in our own thoughts about what was waiting for us in the park. As we finally left the apartment building, the night air hit us. It was cool and a little damp. The streets of Brooklyn were quieter than usual, with only a few cars passing by. The streetlights cast long, strange shadows on the pavement. Every person we passed seemed to look at us a little too long. Or maybe that was just my imagination. My heart was beating so fast it felt like a drum inside my chest. I took a deep breath. I looked at my friends. Kyle gave me a small nod. Aleko gave a weak smile. We were in this together. No matter what happened next, we would face it as one. Our mission had begun. Prospect Park at night is a totally different world. During the day, it's full of families, music and laughter. But at midnight, it was a giant black hole of darkness and silence. The entrance looked like a huge, scary mouth, ready to swallow us whole. We took a deep breath and stepped inside. The city sounds immediately faded away, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the chirping of crickets. It was creepy. The trees looked like tall, dark monsters with their branches reaching out for us. Every snap of a twig made me jump. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see someone lurking in the shadows that danced all around us. I had Google Maps open on my phone. The little blue dot that was us moved slowly along the winding path. The screen's light was the only thing that felt safe in the overwhelming darkness. "Okay, the map says the lake is this way," I whispered, my voice sounding way too loud in the quiet. Kyle held the flashlight, sweeping its beam from side to side. The light cut through the dark, but it also made the shadows deeper and scarier. It felt like we were in a horror movie, and I was just waiting for the bad part to start. We walked close together, our shoulders almost touching, as if our closeness could create a shield against whatever was out there. The path got narrower. We were getting deeper into the park. I could smell the damp earth and the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers. It would have been nice on a different night, on a date maybe, but tonight it just made everything feel more unreal. Aleko was walking a little ahead of us, his eyes scanning the darkness. I could feel his anger and his fear all at once. He was on a mission and nothing was going to stop him. "Are you sure this is the right way?" Kyle asked, his voice low and tense. I checked the phone again. "Yeah," I said. "The big oak tree should be just past this next turn, by the water." As we got closer to the lake, We could hear the gentle sound of water lapping against the shore. The moon was hidden behind the clouds, so we could barely see the outline of the water. The air felt colder here. We stopped for a second. Aleko turned to us. "Remember the plan," he said. "We stick together. We don't let him scare us." We all nodded. My hands were sweating. I gripped my phone tighter. We were almost there. The meeting spot. The place where we would finally see the face of the person who had been causing so much fear. The final steps toward the big oak tree felt like the longest walk of my entire life. We saw him from a distance, a dark figure standing under the biggest, oldest oak tree I had ever seen. The tree's branches hung low like a curtain, making the spot even darker. The person was wearing a black hoodie, with the hood pulled all the way up so we couldn't see their face. They were just standing there, perfectly still, waiting. It was exactly like a scene from a nightmare. My breath caught in my throat. This was it. The moment was here. All the bravery I thought I had felt like it was melting away, leaving only pure, cold fear. I wanted to turn around and run as fast as I could, but my feet were stuck to the ground. Aleko didn't hesitate. He started walking faster, his fists still clenched at his sides. Kyle and I exchanged a quick, worried look before hurrying to catch up with him. "Aleko, wait, let's think," Kyle whispered. But Aleko wasn't listening. He was too focused, too angry. We got closer, and the hooded figure finally moved. They turned their head towards us. We still couldn't see a face, just a dark shadow under the hood. "Are you the one sending messages to Jasper?" Aleko's voice was strong, much stronger than I expected. It echoed a little in the quiet night air. The figure just stood there, silent. The silence was the worst part. "Leave him alone," Aleko shouted, taking another step forward. "You hear me? Stay away from him." The figure let out a low laugh. It was a horrible sound that made my skin crawl. "Or what?" a man's voice finally said. It was deep and raspy. "You three kids gonna stop me?" He took a step towards us, and for the first time I felt like we had made a huge mistake. This person wasn't just some kid playing a prank. This was a grown man, and he wasn't scared of us at all. He was bigger than any of us, and he was enjoying our fear. My mind was racing. I thought about screaming, about running, about calling the police, but I was frozen. Kyle stepped in front of Aleko, putting a hand on his chest to hold him back. He shined the flashlight directly at the man's face. The man flinched, covering his eyes with his arm. We still couldn't see him clearly, but we saw that he was tall and broad. "You need to leave," Kyle said, his voice steady and firm. He sounded so much older than 17. "This is over. You're not going to bother him again." The man lowered his arm, and his eyes glinted in the flashlight's beam. They were full of anger. The man lunged forward. It happened so fast. He wasn't Aleko. He went right for Kyle, knocking the flashlight from his hand. The light rolled on the ground, its beam spinning wildly, creating a chaotic light show of dancing trees and shadows. The man pushed Kyle hard. Kyle stumbled back, but he didn't fall. He was strong. He pushed back. And then they were fighting. It was a messy, desperate scuffle in the dark. I heard grunts and the sound of fists hitting flesh. Aleko and I were stunned for a second, watching in horror. This wasn't supposed to happen. Our plan did not include a real fight. Then Aleko snapped out of it. He yelled and ran to help Kyle, trying to pull the man off him. I finally found my voice and I screamed. I screamed as loud as I could. "Get off of him! Get away from us!" My scream seemed to startle the man. He looked up, distracted for just a moment. That was the opening Kyle needed. He managed to land a solid punch on the man's jaw. The man grunted in pain and stumbled back. He looked from Kyle to Aleko to me. He saw that we weren't backing down. We were three and we were fighting back together. He was probably not expecting that. The man cursed at us. He looked at Kyle, who was now bleeding from a cut on his lip. He looked at Aleko, who was standing ready to fight. And he looked at me, still screaming. He must have decided it wasn't worth it. He turned and ran, disappearing into the darkness of the park. Just like that, he was gone. We stood there, breathing heavily, the adrenaline slowly starting to fade. Kyle touched his lip and winced. "You okay?" Aleko asked, his voice filled with concern. "Yeah," Kyle said, trying to sound tough. "I'm fine, he's gone. We had done it, we had faced him, we had won." But as we stood there in the silence under the big, dark oak tree, the victory felt strange. It didn't feel final. We looked around at the empty park. He was gone, but who was he? Why was he doing it? We had scared him off for tonight, but would he come back? Would he try something else? The fear was gone, but now it was replaced by a new feeling, uncertainty. We started the long walk back out of the park, sticking even closer together than before. We had protected our friend, but we were left with a heavy question hanging in the cool night air. Was the danger really over?